Welcome to Las Vegas and the 2025 HFA Trade Show, where I'm going to be talking to some of the industry leaders in the athlete recovery space to find out who they are, what they're all about, and what products they've got coming out in 2025. So let's go check them out.
So when we designed this, ultimately, the goal was how do we get infrared light therapy into the device and treat each muscle with the correct dose. So there's a great review paper on photobiomodulation, infrared light, specifically in muscle fatigue. And you want to basically, for a small muscle, get 20 to 60 joules of energy in the small muscle, and then 60 to 300 in a larger muscle. So we were like, okay, if you have a 20-minute minimum treatment time in here, how much light has to come from each strip focused on which area of the body? So quads and hamstrings, large muscles, smaller, kind of like soft tissue work around the knee, smaller muscle in the gastroc and the soleus, and then enough room for treatment, again, at the Achilles and around the heel. And so each one of these strips is designed with a certain number of LEDs on a certain location so that you know you are getting the correct dose. And we actually had a scientific study where we actually are in the process of analyzing the data. We partnered with the university in Brazil. Yeah. And a group called Proven that does a lot of, like, he's a CRO, like a contract research org. And so that data is ongoing right now, but we did an exercise-induced muscle damage protocol. And then for 72 hours, tracked recovery metrics. 40 people in one group did nothing. The other 40 used only compression. And the other 40 used all the modalities in here. So we'll have that data on our website soon as well.
So I think it's important for a consumer to know, though. Let's show the red light here so that when he turns these on, not all the strips are going to light up with red light, but the red light that's going to light up is just going to indicate that it's actually on and active, so you can visibly see that. So even though these strips are not all lit up, this is all far infrared, correct?
Yep. Near infrared. So near infrared is non-visible. It's 830, 850 nanometers. Far infrared is not produced by LEDs. Far infrared, which is in our new Thermback LED, that's produced when you heat a carbon fiber element within it. So this is all near infrared, with one visible red light LED, purely for the customer to know and the user to know this is working and it's turned on. But these are all actively producing non-visible light energy right now.
That's awesome. That's good to know, because that's something that even I didn't know. And I know everything about all these products, I feel like. So, Tim, I really appreciate you educating us on that.
No problem. So all these technologies, two key regulatory kind of oversight is coming in, like two parents per se. First is the FDA. So if you create a product that has a therapeutic benefit to the human body, it's ultimately a medical device. And if you're not registering both or clearing the device, but also your company and your manufacturing with the FDA, it's kind of really not, it's not the right approach to it. And when you do that, when you're registering these as medical devices or clearing them based on the class of device they are, you're saying that basically, like, this product, and us as a company, is adhering to the quality standards and the safety standards of what the FDA is setting forth to basically protect the end user, right? So that's the FDA. Then on the FTC side, the FTC is really about their advertising, claims, and then making sure the claims that you make aren't misleading, are truthful, and the consumer knows that they can trust you as a brand. The FTC was really focused before 2022. Their guidelines were like on supplements. They expanded their definition of their guidelines in 2022 to be health products, including devices just like these, wearables, and so on. And then they immediately sent out like 400 warning letters to a whole bunch of companies, with saying like, hey, you're making misleading claims. And we know in this industry, especially coming from supplements and into now more broader health products, there's a lot of snake oil. And so now the FTC is saying they've updated their guidelines and they want you to just be able to say that my claims are backed by science. But their guidelines are not saying like, hey, use all this existing science. Like, that is a very important step. Like Therabody, we do the same. What we do scientific discovery, like what is the science of heat or far infrared, and how do we take best cutting edge science and put it in our products? But they've gone one step further and they've said you have to do your own research study. So you need to go create a product based off the science and then now validate it and
do your own studies.
Your own studies. And what it's going to create, first and foremost, it's going to protect the customer. It's going to up level the entire industry. But right now there's like a panic, because what do you do as a company if you've never committed to science and you don't have the know-how how to do science, and then you don't have the funding or the resources to then do that research? You're screwed.
You're going to get left behind because your products are going to get pulled from the shelves.
100%.
And you're going to be a year behind every other company that's been doing it.
And if you're and the FTC will be a warning letter, and then the FTC will say, hey, these are misleading claims. Remove all these claims. And if those claims are on your website, your packaging, your merchandising, your etc., you've got to pull back on those claims. And then you need to be able to prove the product does something if you want to be able to sell it. And so for us, we're very fortunate is that 5-6 years ago, we started the journey of like, how does science be a central piece of our company, from our product development to our validation? So we have got 20 odd studies now published on Theragun, whether it's supporting recovery, performance, pain, and so on. And we've got a lot more coming. And then same with our beauty category products, same with our pneumatic compression. We had a great study actually published on these showing that it'll help cardiovascular recovery, not just your lower body recovery. And so, yeah, it's your regulatory guidelines, how you operate, and then the science of your products is going to define what's probably the next 10, 20 years of the industry.
That's awesome. That was a very good high-level synoptic view of that I think is going to make sense to people. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Awesome.
And obviously, Therabody's at the forefront of that from a scientific standpoint. So continue to put that trust behind your products, and appreciate all the science backing that you guys do.
Awesome. We appreciate it and the support you do.
Yeah.